आज हम लोग सबसे अजीब चीज देखेंगे, ladies and gentlemen. April 1st. That is a day that is internationally known as April Fool's Day. The day you play a little joke and a goof and a gaff on your friends. But here, I'm about to show you something fucking insane. Now, I love playing video games. I really do. And I do love video game graphics. I'm going to say it right now. I think stuff like ray tracing can be cool. Generally, I don't think everyone uses it right. But, when you play a game like Cyberpunk 2077, that shit can look pretty damn good. Today, though, we're going to talk about Nvidia DLSS 5. Now, Nvidia is a company that is all for the AI bro these days, but they do make video game graphics cards, okay? Some of them are fucking expensive, but they push a technology known as DLSS, which typically has been used to make games run at lower resolutions and blow them up to 4K without the performance cost and making them look pretty sharp. And for that reason, it actually does a pretty good job. But today, they announced the most significant breakthrough in computer graphics since ray tracing. So without, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid right off. This is Resident Evil Requiem. And before anybody says, Muda, where's your playthrough? Give me like a little bit on it. It's a 11-hour video, but also the other thing is, I did not foresee how violent Capcom would make it. Apparently it trips YouTube's like age restrictions and everything, so there's going to be a fair bit of Japanese macro blocking. You know how they do it in the adult videos over there just to make sure it flies by. But anyways, give me a time. I did not foresee Capcom would make a game gorier than like Manhunt 2. Even that game on my channel has like 4 videos that are like completely restricted. Anyways, so this is Resident Evil Requiem as it looks right now. This is what it looks like with DLSS 5. Look at her face. Goes from regular video game graphics to Snapchat, yes, queen. Regular game, OnlyFans. Regular game, Instagram. Regular game, Snapchat that shit right up. Now, again, I don't want to be totally negative over here because I feel like everyone has looked at this face and has been wondering, whoa, that looks really fucking bad. But here's the reality of it, okay? There's actually a fair bit of this screenshot that I think kind of looks good. So for instance, in the back, anything that isn't this AI slop image right here, this AI slop character model, anything that looks like a game, yeah, it definitely has like the art style that's removed, but in some ways, I guess you could say that it looks realer. It looks closer to an overcast day, which is probably why this actual screenshot looks so good. But to give you an idea, it is terrible. This is not the original intended art style of a game, but yes, we reached a point where the real-time AI video filters are now a thing. There's like these set of videos where like people would look at GTA 5, but they would throw like gameplay into generative artificial intelligence. Like this is literally GTA 5 footage of you walking through Franklin's mansion. And again, this is Michael's mansion now, and you can see that, yes, it is basically the same gameplay, except everything in here is kind of hallucinated as to what an AI would think reality would look like. If anything, you can see things morph around. You can see that it basically gives you that sort of dreamlike understanding. Now, whereas it took basically like so much resources to generate these 7-second clips, Nvidia has done it in a way where it can actually be done in real time, which is kind of impressive. So if you look at more of these Requiem things, you can see that, of course, this is the actual, footage with DLSS off. This is the YAS version. This is actually slightly better than the crappy one that we just saw above. But yeah, you can see that the background, like the color grading, things kind of match, maybe more realistic, right? But you can see this is what Leon looks like before the DLSS. This is what it looks like with YAS. Now, of course, the one thing that I noticed with these AI models is that they kind of apply lighting almost as if it's like a fucking studio. I don't know if the developers intended that, but that's clearly what Nvidia is pushing for, okay? So in other ways, this is what EA Sports Football Club looks like. This is what it looks like with the DLSS on. So you can see his face just has that like AI face shit to it, which is insane. Now, I think what you're about to see is actually probably the grossest thing here. So this is Starfield footage. And again, this is kind of creepy, okay? So again, Nvidia is showing this footage over here. And DLSS 5 is coming. You can see that you're talking to this character, and then it literally turned into AI face. So again, right over here, we're talking, it turns into those 7-second AI clips that you see. Same thing over here. I think it actually is worse for Starfield, considering that most Bethesda games, the NPCs are so robotic. When you add the AI Snapchat filter to it, it just makes it look worse than it actually, really is. But if we look at this scene really quickly, you can see that this is the original art style that they have, and a lot of it gets lost in translation when things just look uncannily real. Like you threw it into an AI video generator and it just like generated these faces. So if you look closer into this guy right over here, and again, we'll load up a bigger image, you can see that this is what the character looks like without any of this AI slop. This is what he looks like with the AI slop. So generally, I don't actually see any change to the guys like models. But again, the lighting, it does give him like that realistic Snapchat face. She's not much better over here too, right? Like, of course, they've got the sort of moody lighting. You open it up. Oh, that looks like fucking... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think this is the win that Nvidia really thinks that it is. It's just more AI slop thrown at us for the sake of AI slop. And I guess for some people, it definitely looks cool. And remember, the big part about this is it's a toggle, right? Like, you don't have to use this option. I'm pretty sure if you think DLSS 5 is haram, you could probably go back to like DLSS 4, which actually does do a pretty good job of fixing the image and making it look sharp, as opposed to actually changing the entire art style of an image right here, which I think is pretty important for like any video game that you play. Of course, it's even worse when you look at Hogwarts Legacy. Like, again, this guy goes from like a video game to like AI face in the span of a second. Now, there have been more showcases. Digital Foundry showcased a bunch of this stuff too, and this is where I talk about, like, again, ultimately, this kind of technology, like if you look at Assassin's Creed Shadows, like in this footage that they released, you can see that the actual world does kind of look pretty good. Like, it actually has that sort of real quality in the distance, and when you take it off, it does look more like a video game. But even then, like, dude, the actual video game graphics for Assassin's Creed Shadows looks amazing enough that you don't even need to make it look like it went through an AI filter anyways. You know, for as much praise as I could give Assassin's Creed Shadows, this is it. So here Digital Foundry shows like Oblivion remastered, and this is what the game looks like without DLSS, right? And I think it actually looks pretty fucking good. I think it actually looks better than I would expect any game to really look like in this. It looks like a fine title. When you slap on DLSS, I will say that the actual environment, it looks realistic. Like, it looks like that overcast day that you would probably see maybe in real life. It does, however, match those, take the footage of GTA, throw it into a video generator and tell it like, hey, make this look like real life. That's the same effect that you're getting. Except here, it actually is happening in real time. And from what I imagine, because DLSS is more in tune with the game's vectors, the motion vectors and everything, there's less hallucination. So you can see that things keep their consistency as they go back and forth, right? Like, for instance, things in the background will not lose or change their identity as you switch things back and forth. So it gets worse with like Oblivion Remastered right over here. So for instance, walking around Tamriel's like shore, you can see like, or the dockyard, you can see when you slap it on, you kind of lose that art style that they went for. But of course, when you talk to this guy, for instance, like they're about to engage in a conversation with this guy, you can see with DLSS off, it looks like a game. And then when you slap it on, it literally has AI face. Now, if you didn't catch that, look at him blinking real carefully. When he blinks, his eyes do this really freaky fucking creepypasta ass thing where like the AI model, the AI filter fails to like blink properly. So his eyes like look in different directions and he just becomes downright scary. So again, he just doesn't do it once. It keeps happening as time goes on. And yeah, I don't think it actually works. I don't think it's what anybody kind of expected. I don't think it's the best application for video game graphics. And the fact that I think, Nvidia kind of like looked at it and said, wow, it actually looks great. I think it looks great when you look at everything that isn't a human character. Generally it does kind of have that almost realistic looking quality. So people are kind of sharing this one image around, and it's kind of funny. Some people are comparing this to like the Epstein upscale, if you will, too. You know, if you look at the DLSS version on the left, maybe it's because of the head tilt and whatnot, or maybe the face shape, but I can sort of see it too. But just a quick visual analysis of this will show you that, yeah, the one on the right, obviously you can see that it's closer to a video game graphics, video game system too. It's closer to what a real 3D rendering is. And obviously if you look at the left, the DLSS enhanced, you can see there's more wrinkles. The lighting is more, I want to say, real looking in terms of it matching things like the overcast style, I guess. I would say the backgrounds genuinely, while they do look better in terms of the contrast, they're not surprisingly like, it doesn't immediately stomp, I would say, the original rendering too. But yeah, this is clearly a situation where I would say the sharper, more realistic looking version just kind of fits in more uncanny. It sort of gives you that almost LA noir effect that video games, when you chase those real life looking graphics, those realistic looking visuals, ultimately that is the big roadblock that pops up. But yeah, it's one of the other images that I saw that I think does a better example of what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're at a point with like video game graphics where like, god damn, I'm gonna be completely real. Like, aside from the background visuals, it doesn't look good. And I'm going to be completely upfront and say it like this. I think it's such a waste of video game resources and hardware resources that instead of chasing for more optimized games, we're just creating a tool which basically, like, at this point, what is actually being rendered by the game engine anyways? Is what you're seeing on the screen rendered by Nvidia's, like, AI? Or the actual, like, game programmers, game artists, that we pay $60 to see what their vision is, right? It's kind of a weird direction to be taking video game graphics. Like, it's cool from a technical perspective, which is why I'm giving you that nuanced take. But at the end of the day, I think based on the final results and when you put everything together, it really does look like actual shit. Like, honestly, I don't know what Nvidia is necessarily thinking doing this. I'm sure it's probably great for their, like, business model, right? By saying this is how great our AI stuff is, because guess what? Instead of taking up massive resources, we're actually doing this at 60 frames per second at like 4K, which I think is a pretty huge deal to begin with. But the end result just looks kind of gross. I think this whole DLSS 5 thing further, like, sort of exemplifies what I think NVIDIA is about these days. And, they're a company that's partnering with, organizations like Palantir, one of the largest mass surveillance contributors in the country, in the world even. And it makes me wonder, like, what the future is. Like, obviously, this is a company that's evolved far beyond video game graphics. Like, even if you go to NVIDIA's website right now, you have to scroll down a fair bit past several options just to even reach the video gaming section. Which makes sense because, hey, they're a company that's mostly for artificial intelligence these days. It's just I wish the AI stuff probably should have had less of an involvement, at least this heavily, when it came to video games. Video games are a place where artists are sort of like the front runners of producing content and producing the visuals that we see on display. And a lot of these technologies like RTX, like DLSS originally, these things were enhanced real-time rendering, which is kind of what it's about, real-time rendering. But I don't really see that being the future for the company. I think it's mostly, hey, we take your game engine, we can see what, should be the next frame, and we'll throw a really quick AI model over it and present what I guess the AI model is trained on to show. Which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, and I think the amount of discussion people are already having about this is kind of reflective of that belief. When I think of just video game graphics, like, anything that Nvidia just showed still pales in comparison to this one screenshot that literally was produced on a PlayStation 5, a actual console that is outdated now. Without requiring things like artificial intelligence, like, filters or like these video filters overlaid on video game stuff. What I'm seeing here from this one screenshot from GTA 6 already shows me what is possible with actual human artists and actual, like, vision, as opposed to this NVIDIA slop filter that's thrown up. Objectively, if you were to put the DLSS 5 filter on this, I think you would probably see something that is inferior, in quality to whatever you're seeing right here presently that is actually rasterized
by real-time elements.
Now, that doesn't mean that everything that I think Nvidia does is terrible when it comes to this stuff, too. Nvidia has done a lot of good shit with things like RTX Remix, where a lot of people have taken old PC games from like DirectX 9 and basically have fluffed their visuals up with path tracing, PBR textures to make them look like they were released in 2026. And a lot of this stuff Nvidia did provide entirely for free, which I think is an amazing thing to be doing. That said, on the other side, for every positive that you can give them, I think this direction is pretty ass. And generally speaking, given the fact that this technology is also basically connected to Nvidia itself, it's not as if every gamer is going to benefit from this. None of the people at the AMD side are going to be seeing this DLSS 5. Even the good parts of it, and I think even for the Nvidia gamers, it's like this kind of technology will probably require you to purchase the highest end or close to the higher end Nvidia cards, which honestly, for the price that they're going for, thousands of fucking dollars, is it worth it for you to have like a cute AI Snapchat filter over characters? I don't know. I don't know. I think for me, the backgrounds kind of look, they're probably the only saving grace. But if you're going from this all the way to this, it looks like dog shit, Nvidia. So just fucking stop. Anyways, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.